He sat there, in the grease and the hum and the midnight of the power plant, the wheelbarrow a crude cradle for the jagged, unbidden thing that was not yet a book, but a fever, a 6-week labor that came out whole and terrible like a birth in the dark. It is a story of a journey, they say, but it is not a journey. It is a stasis in motion, a long, slow rot across a landscape of red mud and rising water, where 15 voices rise and fall and overlap in a chorus of the damned, all of them trying to put a name to the hole that Addie Bundren left when she finally stopped being. Because she is the center, you see, the silent, hollow center around which the madness orbits like buzzards, and when she speaks from the grave, she tells us the truth that we are all too terrified to know, that words are no good, that words are just thin, vertical lines going straight up into the air, harmless and empty, while the doing, the actual living, and the suffering and the bleeding goes along the red earth, oblivious to the names we give it. She knew that love was just a shape to fill a lack, a word used by the living to hide the fact that they are already dead. And him, Ans, standing there in his long, suffering stillness, his hands hanging down like 2 dead fish, saying, "The Lord's will," and "my Christian duty," until the words themselves become a kind of thick, cloying dust that chokes the life out of his children. He is the architect of the inertia, the man who uses his own lucklessness as a whip to drive the others across the river. He does not need to move. He simply waits for the world to break itself against his wanting. And when the journey is done, when the coffin is in the ground, and the son is in the madhouse, and the daughter is stripped of her hope, he stands there with his new teeth and his new woman, unscathed, indifferent, a parasite who has found a fresh host in the wreckage of his own blood. We look at the world now, in this age that has inherited the backfire of that ancient engine, and we see the Dewey Dells and the Addies finally looking up from the red earth. They are looking at the hard life that was promised them, that was fed to them like bitter bread, and they are saying no. They are choosing a quietness that is not the silence of the grave, but the silence of the soul that has finally refused to be a vessel for another man's inertia. There is a loneliness in the air today, a thick, resonant friction between the ghosts of the old duty and the new unwritten self. It is the sound of the contract being torn, the sound of the progeny realizing that the Ans model of the world is a trap, a linguistic cage where one person talks and the other person bleeds. The modern loneliness is the space between the old, poisoned words and the new, horizontal truth of the team. It is the pioneers of this age who are walking away from the wagon and the rotting corpse of tradition. They are the ones who didn't get the cultural feeding, who don't see the marriage as a transaction or the family as a factory for population, but as a committed movement of equals. They are the ones crossing the river together, not because a father's teeth demand it, but because they have chosen to see each other in the dark. Faulkner was warning us. He was showing us that as long as we value the outcome, the burial, the ritual, the social performance, more than we value the person, we are all just Bundrens, dragging our own decay through the mud. But the river is still flowing, and we do not have to drown in the old names. We can refuse the coffin. We can leave Ans standing on the bank with his empty promises and his new, duck-shaped woman, and we can walk into a new day where the words and the doing finally, mercifully, become the same thing.